National Park Service is to ensure the sustainability or survival of tangible pieces on the landscape, even landscape themselves, that reflect human history. So, for example, historic structures, archaeology, which is the remains that Indians left when they lived here. We have a collection of almost 400,000 objects, so those objects need to be cared for. We also have cultural landscapes, the government calls them cultural landscapes, like Lees Ferry area. And in fact, that area is known as we have an official name for it. It's the Lees Ferry Lonely Dell National Historic District. So it has such national significance that it's placed on a special register in Washington, D.C., and we have to behave in certain ways to ensure the survival of that area that is significant in thousands of years of human settlement and migration through there. So then in the late 1800s, John D. Lee, who is a member of the Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, was asked by the church to set up a farmstead there and help LDS members or Mormon members cross the river there to settle Arizona, where we are now. So that trail is referred to as the Arizona Road Honeymoon Trail, because once the settlers established settlement and made a life, they would cross back over at Lees Ferry and go up to churches like the Mormon Tabernacle Center in Salt Lake City, and then later St. George.
My name is Talayla Florco, and I'm a cultural resource technician for Glen Canyon National Recreation Area for the Park Service. I work in the museum collections, and what we have here is a lead tablet that was discovered by one of our volunteers. He came across this rolled up piece of metal and unrolled it, and what he discovered was several inscriptions on the tablet, and with the signature of John D. Lee. It talks about the Mountain Meadows Massacre, which was in the 1800s. A large wagon party was killed, and it's been a very hot topic, a controversial issue for many years. At the Perea, I have now lived longer than expected, though am now ill. I do not fear authority, for the time is closing, and am willing to take the blame for the fancher. Colonel Dane, Major Higbee, and me, on orders from Pres Young, through Geo Smith, took part. I trust in God. I have no fear. Death hold no terror. Lord have mercy on this restless soul. By my own hand, J.D. Lee, January 11th, 1872. We ended up having two independent handwriting analysts look at the tablet, and they both determined that it was not authentic. It's not an authentic document. So it was not signed by John D. Lee. But basically, we think that someone may have placed it there trying to implicate John D. Lee. Why that is, I don't know. We don't have any leads at this point.
It is today the beginning of what many people that I visited with, I hike down there in the wintertime, refer to as their sacred journey. Just in the way that I think Native Americans and Mormons felt about that landscape, so do contemporary Euro-Americans. It is a reverent experience for them to begin the journey to travel down the Grand Canyon right there at Lees Ferry.
Hi, my name is Bob Boucher. I'm from River Hills, Wisconsin, and we're here to run the Grand Canyon. We're going to stay out here for about 20 days, and we've got quite a few experienced guys who've been down the river a number of times. This is my first time down the river with my wife, and we have an interesting collection of people from Oregon, Vermont, Utah, Alberta, and here in Arizona. own self-guided trip. I've been on the lottery list for almost 20 years.
Really?
And we lost the lottery, and we lost the lottery, and then eventually, I think what they had was the loser's lottery, so everybody was a winner. And we filed it in 1991.
It took you till now to actually
Get the permit. It's a funny system.
It too has, it can move one to have that experience, to stand there and to touch it and see others begin their journey down the river. So, you know, it's been a transportation corridor, it's been a settlement area, it's been home to so many people through time, and it's been a place where they begin their own personal and spiritual journeys. So it's truly a remarkable location. I think it resonates, my belief is it resonates like Old Faithful does at Yellowstone. It's a place that people have heard about. I bet you could ask anyone across the country if they've heard of Lees Ferry, and they have. Not everyone would know what it's about, but it has that much power in our collective memory. Again, we may not fully understand it all, but when you look into the history and culture, you still see the powerful role it plays.